Well, good morning,
Good morning, Andrew.
Dr. Webster. I know you always feel uncomfortable calling Dr. Webster, but I'm very happy to be sitting down with you, Dr. Ewan Webster. I was actually lucky to interview the president of Juggernaut, Dan Stewart, back on February 5th, I believe. It was the last conference, and sat down with him, did an interview with Peter Newton from CEO.ca. I know a lot has happened since then, and we were pretty excited back then.
Yeah.
But I see Juggernaut has closed a $2.743 million institutionally supported and oversubscribed financing, and you're now fully funded, and you're about to drill some exciting bedrock discoveries. Maybe you could give us a bit of a background, not only on yourself, how you came into the market, your love of geology, but also where that interesting accent everyone is asking about. And also just touch on some of the specific targets that Juggernaut's looking at.
Sure. So you are right, it's great to be fully funded and by some of the smartest money in business as well. And coincidentally, that's actually allowed us to kick off our field program early. We started May 15th and we're currently flying airborne magnetics over both Midas and Empire. I guess for myself, I'm from Scotland originally, and I went to the University of Glasgow to do an undergraduate degree in earth sciences. Following that, I went on to pursue a PhD in Canada at the University of Calgary. It was fully funded by Geoscience BC, and the goal of the project was really to understand the tectonic evolution of southeastern British Columbia in order to build up a good framework, geological framework, in order to place the region's abundant and diverse different ore deposits.
So now you have two projects. They're both 100% owned, which is great for an investor's point of view. But
Yeah.
maybe you could tell us a little bit about where those projects are located.
Sure. We have two projects. They're located just outside of Terrace, British Columbia. It's in kind of north central British Columbia. The town itself has a population of about 30,000. Midas is situated about 24 kilometres southeast of Terrace, and it's 14 kilometres from Midas to CN Rail, Power and Highway. And Empire is about 35 kilometres northeast of Terrace. It's only 8 kilometres to Highway, Power and CN Rail as well. And both properties are Logging Road accessible, so the infrastructure in the area is fantastic.
That's perfect. That's great for an investor to know they're close to infrastructure.
Indeed.
So what is the geological model?
Well, Andrew, we've only spent 30 days in total on Empire and also 30 days in total on Midas, so it's early days. But at Empire, there's indications of a porphyry system and a porphyry style mineralization at work. As well, there's a couple of discrete areas on the property where we're seeing more of a VMS signature. Then on Midas, also we're seeing a VMS style system. As well, it's slightly more complicated. It seems to be some sort of more orogenic overprint on top of that. But I think the key thing is that both of these properties are hosted in a world-class geological setting, and there's brand new bedrock discoveries, and both of these properties are going to be tested with the drill bit this year, so it's very exciting times for us.
That is pretty exciting. Now, but I'm going to put you on the spot a bit, because in this sector we hear world-class quite a bit.
Yeah.
So what's your impression when you use the word world-class, or use that term? What's that mean to you?
Well, I think it's rocks that have known deposits associated with them. And we're fortunate where we are that we're in the Stikine terrain, and Empire is hosted in the Hazelton Group volcanics. And these are prolific through the Stikine terrain and are known to host multiple world-class deposits. And then at Midas, the BCGS were in there mapping in 2007 and 2008. And they remapped a sequence of volcanic rocks as bimodal marine volcanics, and they suggested that the area has gone overlooked using the VMS model as an exploration tool. So, and they said it's basically one of the kind of last areas in British Columbia that may host world-class VMS systems. So very exciting times to be involved in exploring in this region.
So what are the primary commodities that you have both at Midas and Empire?
Well, we're fortunate. Both of these properties are genuinely polymetallic mineralization, meaning multi-element. So we have gold, silver, copper, lead and zinc present on both Empire and Midas and numerous different zones.
What can you tell about the exploration team?
Well, the exploration team itself is headed up by Dr. Stefan Cruz. The team itself has a long history and a proven track record. A very experienced team. Several of the individuals have been recognised by their peers in the industry for making genuine discoveries as well.
Excellent. So what's your plan for 2018?
Well, ultimately we're going to be drilling many of these high-grade bedrock discoveries on both Empire and Midas. But as I mentioned earlier, we've already kicked off our 2018 season and we're currently flying airborne magnetics. And what that's going to do is help us basically refine and focus our ground-based exploration program that's soon to commence. What will be involved in that is basically high-resolution IP, detailed mapping, whole rock alteration studies, soil sampling, prospecting, and trenching. And ultimately that will culminate in a quite extensive drill program this summer at both Empire and Midas. And from my perspective, I feel that we're with such high-grade mineralization in bedrock at surface, we could literally be one drill hole away from making a world-class discovery. So, hang tight. This is going to be a very exciting summer.
So what are the key areas you're focusing on at your Midas and Empire properties?
Well, at Midas we're focusing on the King Solomon zone, which is within a district scale, 18 by 10 kilometre quartz-sericite pyrite alteration zone that was independently mapped by the British Columbia Geological Survey in 2007 and 2008. And within this zone is the King Solomon zone, which is a newly discovered 2.1 by 1.6 kilometre gold mineralised corridor. Now, on the Empire property, we're focused on multiple new bedrock discoveries along the 5.5 kilometre Inca trend. That trend contains both potassic and phyllic alteration, coupled with widespread high-grade polymetallic mineralization, indicating that we likely have a large feeder source at depth. 3.5 kilometres north of the Inca trend, we discovered the Big One anomaly, which is a large geophysical anomaly at the northern end of the property that is set to be drilled this coming summer as well.
Now, I have to ask, and if you can, are you able to elaborate on the Big One anomaly? I know that has a lot of people excited.
Yeah, well, Andrew, I think it's partly because of the geological setting. Hazelton Group Volcanics, adjacent to the Quark Formation, which is contemporaneous with the development of the Esky Rift to the west. That's coupled with the presence of marine fossils on surface, so clams and worms. And also Geoscience BC, as part of the Quest survey, also identified this particular target as an anomaly as well. So some great information coming out of the Geoscience BC survey there as well, and we're just fortunate enough to have followed up on that. Focusing on the anomaly itself, it's a strongly conductive body measuring 1,000 by 800 by 300 metres. The conductive zone comes to within about 30 metres of the surface and remains open to depth. The body itself is tabular in shape, and the presence of sulfides, including chalcopyrite on surface, and the presence of marine fossils in the area are all really strong indicators of being near what was a hydrothermal vent system or a kind of black smoker type environment on the sea floor. These results demonstrate Big One has strong potential to be a VMS. Drilling this summer will test the core of this anomalous body, so it's very exciting to be drilling this new anomalous target.
Wonderful. So Rockstar was found at the end of the 2017 season.
Yep.
It had some incredible results. What are you guys planning for 2018? What's on the forefront?
Well, you're right. Finding Rockstar at the end of the season was an incredible way to finish up the season. It was a fantastic discovery and very exciting. What we found was basically kind of massive sulfide lenses and stringers that are hosted within a pervasively altered sequence of Hazelton Group volcanics again. I guess our plan for this year is we're currently flying airborne magnetics, as I mentioned, and that will be followed up by detailed mapping, IP grid over the entire Rockstar zone, as well as a whole rock alteration study, and prospecting as well, because we only spent a total of 2 days on Rockstar, so there's a lot more to find. And ultimately this season will culminate in drilling at Rockstar as well. So I look forward to those results.
The results we've seen to date from your second 100% controlled Midas property remind me of some of the larger gold discoveries I've seen in my career prior to drilling. Can you tell me about the Midas property and what the plans are for the project?
Sure. So, as I mentioned already, Midas is part of, or situated within, this 10 by 18 kilometre alteration system that was mapped by the BCGS. That system consists of mostly quartz-arsite pyrite alteration, plus or minus chlorite, depending on what the original lithology was, as well as extensive Gaussian development throughout the area. They also remapped a sequence of volcanics in there as being marine in nature, and suggested that this larger alteration system might be a result of a VMS style system at depth. Subsequently, the area has been deformed quite extensively, and there seems to be a lot of remobilization of the gold and polymetallic mineralization into shears, fractures, and along foliation planes. And a recent petrographic study that we completed suggests that the mineralizing system may be orogenic in nature. Within this large system is the King Solomon zone, and that measures 2.1 by 1.6 kilometers. It is defined by golden bedrock from chip, channel, and grab samples. Highlights from that zone include a channel sample that graded 4.3 meters of 10.3 grams per ton gold. So really good gold numbers over good lengths. The exploration program for this year will follow a similar format to that Empire. As I mentioned, we are currently flying airborne magnetics already, so that data is coming in as we speak. And ground-based exploration will consist of a large IP grid over the King Solomon zone, as well as detailed mapping, prospecting, channel sampling, trenching, and a whole rock alteration study. And then at the end of the season, we're also going to fly LiDAR over the area as well, which will really help in delineating these structures that seem to be controlling the gold mineralization. And we're also planning a fairly extensive drill program this year for Midas as well. And all that ground-based exploration is going to help with refining that program this coming summer.
Well, I want to thank you for your time, Ewan. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. I'm pretty excited about the story. I know that my subscribers, they've been in since January, so they're up about 50%. So we're pretty ecstatic about it. We're really looking forward to hearing some results coming out soon. Appreciate your time. All the best to yourself and to the exploration team. Once again, we'll be waiting, chomping at the bit, sitting here and ahead of the curve before we do some great discoveries.
Thanks, Andrew.